Nigeria is on the wrong trajectory. We have economic vampires, we have economic marauders, and we have economic traitors on the part of crystallization that should really bring Nigeria out of the woods. And as I speak to you right now, I can tell you with all amount of confidence, and quote me for that I said, as far as economic recovery is concerned, as far as energy security is concerned, Nigeria is on the wrong trajectory. Nigeria is on the wrong track. And if we continue at this rate, the Nigerian economy will grind towards the cliff edge and will collapse into the valley. I am saying this and I said, quote me, and I will give you my reasons in the course of this discussion. But let me tell you this. As far as I'm concerned, I have been monitoring the chronology of errors on the side or on the part of our political and economic leaders. And when the errors became so many, I then started noticing some level of consistency in the errors. And after a while, the only conclusion I arrived at was to graduate these errors to deception. And I have no, honestly, apologies for that. It's very, very clear that we have economic vampires, we have economic marauders, and we have economic traitors on the part of crystallization that should really bring Nigeria out of the woods. I'm telling you this because as we speak right now, I'm happy we have a new sheriff in town. But like probably a week before we got the new sheriff in town, or at the twilight of the immediate past government, many of us knew that subsidy has been removed on the price of diesel. And the only thing we noticed was the collapse in strategic industrial sectors, strategic commercial sectors, and strategic domestic sectors. We noticed that it was very clear that subsidy was removed on the price of aviation fuel. The only thing we noticed was massacre in the aviation sector, cancellation of flights and continuous and mass delays. We didn't benefit anything. Subsidy was also removed on the price of kerosene. At the twilight of the exit of the immediate past government, some of us advised the incoming government that there was only one product remaining. And we made the government to understand that the economy of Nigeria was already prostrate. Nigerians were already groaning. Individuals and corporate citizens were in pains. And we said the only product that was remaining was PMS. And we were going to appreciate it if the government understood the concept of subsidy and didn't remove it. But everything in the air then was people or the press singers were only looking at the savings by removing subsidy on the price of PMS. And some of us were telling them that you are only looking at how much you are going to save. What about the cost of the anarchy and the calamities that you will cause to Nigerians? And it appears nobody listening. But I'm sorry to say that it is very, very unfortunate that when a king or when kings speak, their words are laws. And if subjects try to go against the words of the kings, it will look as if they are going against the laws of the land and they are going against the kingdom. I think that's the dilemma we found ourselves in right now. But I can tell you, the only way back or the only way to make progress is by retracing our strategies. We just have to recalibrate our strategies. If not, Nigeria will be in deep trouble. I don't think it will be immodest if I said somehow, somewhere, we had the wrong people on the chain or along the chain of crystallization of our economy. The basic and elementary thing we need to ask ourselves is, first of all, the concept of subsidy. Subsidy is a globally accepted economic pain cushioning concept. Subsidy is a globally tested concept. Subsidies are associated with governments of nations or countries. The equivalent of subsidies when you are dealing with private sector is called discounts or are called discounts. And when you are dealing with the private sector is only after profit maximization and cost minimization. It is only the government of nations that grows citizens. And I want to let you know that as far as people like us are concerned, if subsidy is not working in your country, that will not vitiate or invalidate the global relevance of subsidy. What you need to do is to look inwards and find out why subsidy is not working in your client. And this is the way subsidy is supposed to work. First of all, subsidy is supposed to come from the citizens, from the government to the citizens. In the context of Nigeria, between the government and the citizens, you have the government here, you have subsidy here released to the citizens, but you have saboteurs in between. So what the government was supposed to do the government was supposed to remove the saboteurs and not the subsidy. Because we explained it, we said it, and let us be clear about this. Before subsidy was removed on the price of diesel, we were told that investors were going to come, there were going to be greenfield refineries, there were going to be competitive pricing or prices, and the price was going to come down. Around that time, a liter of diesel was like 87 Nigerian naira. As I speak to you right now, a liter of diesel is about 700 Nigerian naira. And I can tell you with all amount of confidence, and I'm waiting for anybody to challenge me, that I said the minimum wage in Nigeria today cannot buy a 50-liter jerry can of diesel. The monthly minimum wage in Nigeria today cannot buy a 50-kilogram bag of rice. And quote me that I said, any economy where the monthly minimum wage of a citizen cannot buy a 50 kg bag of rice or a 50 kilogram, or a 50-liter jerry can of diesel, that country is in trouble. And anybody who tells you that in the context of Nigeria is on the right track, that person is wrong. And that was why I told you that I have been monitoring the chronology of errors. There was a time we were told that it was coronavirus. We got to a point we were told it was smuggling. We got to the time we were told all kinds of excuses. But we have reached a cul-de-sac. Quote me that I said, for a country that has more than 100 universities, a country that has more than 100 polytechnics, if basic chemistry of refining, boiling, fractionating columns, distillation columns, and addition of sweeteners to produce what we call distillates is difficult for that country, blame the leaders. When we went into democratic dispensation, some of us thought Nigeria was going to do better. We went into democracy in 1999. We are now in 2023. You're talking about 23 good years or 24 years. Even if it will take 10 years to construct a refinery, Nigeria should be having 2 clean and new refineries. But let me tell you something clear, and I stand to be challenged. As far as I am concerned, the last time we constructed a refinery in Nigeria was like in 1989 or 1990. From that time to now, you are talking about 34 years. The current generation of leaders didn't find it necessary to maintain the refineries that they inherited. They didn't find it needful to even construct new ones. We didn't need anybody to tell us that we were going to run into energy crisis. And it is a bit shameful, in fact, very shameful, that as we speak today, Nigeria will be relying on imports, knowing that we have a weak currency, knowing that we are an emerging nation. Some of us knew that once we removed the subsidy on the only remaining product, it was going to be a question of time. Our currency will be devaluated, and it has been devaluated. The next thing we are likely to see is that the Nigerian naira will be redenominated. And what that means is, before you know, we will be asked to have 2,000 naira notes, 5,000 naira notes, 10,000 naira notes, and they will wipe away the smaller notes. Another thing that will happen is we will be forced to open our borders, and Nigeria will become a dumping ground. At that time, we don't need anybody to tell us that we have been reduced to a country of melancholies.
Today, the NNPCL Group CEO, Mele Kyari, came out to tell Nigerians that the reason for the increase in pump price of petrol to 617 naira per litre is because of market forces. This is a big lie. And there are very few people out there who know about the oil and gas industries that are willing to tell the truth. So many of them are out there across the TV channels just telling lies to Nigerians. But Bala Zakka thinks differently. When Bala Zakka speaks, you learn. He exposes a lot of truths that are hitherto hidden. There's a documentary that I have somewhere on this channel. I'll look for a way to link it in the description, where you have Nicholas Howard, who happens to be a doctor at the International Institute of Social Studies in Hague, Netherlands, where he talks about how the West, the IMF and the World Bank, have put a system of education in place to teach our elites rubbish. And they found a way to put this rubbish into mathematical models so that our elites can be thoroughly confused. You'll be wondering why you see so many so-called oil and gas experts, so many high-up political leaders coming out on television these days to push the Tinubu narratives, which are all lies, trying to tell people that they should be patient, that good is going to come out of whatever policies Tinubu has in place. The truth is, the longer the policies stay, the worse things will get for Nigeria and for Nigerians. And there are very few patriotic Nigerians out there that are actually telling the truth. And Bala Zakka is one of them. There's another one, this Dr. Agbon, that provided the documents that exposed with empirical evidence the fact that the DSDP arrangement of the NNPC was a fraud. Bala Zakka is exposing another one. The things he said are also mind-boggling. Please watch this video. We'll interject here and there with our own thoughts so that Nigerians can know what exactly is going on. Don't believe these liars that you see on TV. Don't believe them. They are lying. They are driving a narrative that Tinubu's policy will bring about progress in the long run. It's a lie. I've always said it on this channel. Tinubu is moving in a wrong direction, a very wrong direction. And when you're moving in a wrong direction, it doesn't matter how long you move or how fast you run or how long you run, you will never get to your destination. Watch this video and then we'll continue the discussion afterwards.